Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. And I'm going to have to ask y'all to bear with me today. I am quite sick. I might lose my voice a little bit during the chat. My throat's on fire. My sinuses are killing me, etc. But with that taken into account, I wanted to talk today about something you're seeing a lot right now after the two court decisions that came out this past week, the rulings on the Second Amendment and on Roe v. Wade. Well, it turns out now a lot of people are using the argument that it's a shame in this country that now it appears that guns have more rights than women. You keep seeing this on signs, on message boards, on Facebook, in memes, etc. You're seeing it all over the place. Well, not really that guns have more rights than women, but the guns have more rights than their reproductive system. They're vajayjays. And I wanted to come on here and say that I absolutely agree, and it is shameful. I mean, it makes me sick every time I walk into, like, say, a Walmart or an IKEA, and there's a sign on the door that says, no vaginas, a little, clitoris with a slash through it or whatever they put on there. It's disgusting and it's discriminatory. I just don't like it. Also, how many times can you count that you've been in a theater and someone yells, vagina, and everyone panics and runs out and there's a big to-do about it. Little side note here, it is not illegal to yell vagina in a movie theater. But it is illegal if you cause a stampede or you cause injuries through yelling vagina. That's the actual law about it right there. Another thing that makes me unhappy about this is every time I see a woman go to the post office and she's got to park across the street and then lock her vag in the trunk so that she's not committing a felony just picking up a package. It's ridiculous. I've even been places where the campgrounds will say, no vaginas. Even though you're outdoors and there's wild animals, no vaginas allowed, which I guess is probably a good thing because at least there won't be any bears being attracted because, once a month, vaginas do attract bears. You can't argue against that. That's just a fact. So they do have some danger. Also, when you go to a government building, a lot of times you go to government buildings, they'll even make you lock your vagina in like some sort of vault or lockbox in a public area where people just have to see you shamefully putting your vagina away because you can't be trusted to carry it into the government building. That I don't like at all. I think that is very embarrassing. Luckily here in my state, in my government buildings, you can still have a vagina. I can't. I don't have a vagina in a government building, not usually. But you can still have them in our government buildings. They just have to be concealed. You can't have them openly, which I'm kind of okay with that based on a lot of people I've seen at these government buildings. Another thing that's shameful, speaking of the government, is the hoops they make you jump through legally to just be able to exercise your right to have a vagina, much less take it out in public. And I don't like how cops hassle people when they think they might have a vagina. They go up and they're like, don't make any movements towards your vagina. Maybe take your vagina out and set it on the seat. I've heard cops say a lot of stupid things. Someone had me do that with my gun once. It's even worse when they have you do that with a vagina. But you're just hassled constantly. And it's not just the government. Your friends give you shit all the time. Well, you got to carry that vagina around with you everywhere you go. What are you trying to prove? Well, is your clitoris really tiny? That's why you got to carry your vagina around all the time? People are very judgmental. They don't understand why you carry that vagina with you, any given moment. You never know when you're going to need it. It's better to have need a vagina or not need a vagina and have it than it is to not have it and need it. It's confused. Vaginas are confusing. But it's just horrible. And another bad thing, seems like if you have a vagina and a bad guy breaks in and they can tell you have a vagina, like say if someone's robbing a bank, you're going to get targeted first. In fact, I think vaginas are targeted by bad guys more than anything. So it really is a shame in this country. And if you can't tell here, I'm being a little sarcastic. It's a shame I got to tell people that. Some people would get to this point in the video and think, I actually agree that vaginas or guns have more rights than vaginas. But I think it's silly that people are making this argument. And I don't like the comparisons. Because here's the thing, if you're wanting to win people over, if you're wanting people on the right side of the argument to come over to your side of the argument, and I mean right as in right and left, not right as in correct, not getting into that today, you're not going to win them over by demonizing another right, a first-tier right. Second Amendment is a first-tier right. It's spelled out. So if you're trying to win support for a second-tier right, a right that isn't actually spelled out in the Constitution, you're not going to win us over by attacking the Second Amendment. So stop doing it. Another thing is, quit saying it's about reproductive rights. No one's telling you you have to get pregnant. No one's telling you you're not allowed to get pregnant. No one's telling you when you can and can't try to get pregnant. No one's telling you can't use birth control, at least not yet. Maybe if Thomas gets his way. But your choices as far as reproduction are your own. And even though a lot of people make really bad choices, I think more people make bad choices about reproduction every day than they do with guns. I think that argument could easily be made. But even though that's true, no one's controlling when you reproduce. What is being fought for in this situation is the right to terminate a pregnancy, usually beyond a certain point. Outside the first trimester, which the vast majority of abortions happen in the first trimester. The vast majority of abortions are nothing more than a cluster of cells smaller than your pinky fingernail. So not a big deal. And not in my opinion anyway. But when you get to the point where it's a fetus, that's a different story. And a lot of people have feelings about that. So what you're fighting for is the right to have unregulated abortions. And a lot of people don't agree with that. They think at some point there should be regulations. So if you don't think there should be, well, you're not fighting for reproduction rights. You're fighting for abortion rights. Just be honest. I would support a good, honest argument about abortion within the first trimester way more than I support some person who's wanting no regulations and trying to demonize other rights, etc. So, wise up a little bit. Quit trying to take down gun rights just to prop up abortion rights. Argue it on its own merits. That's one of the problems I'm seeing, like I said. And like I said, you're fighting for abortion rights. And here's the thing, that's a medical procedure. Most states regulate many medical procedures. They have to. There's a lot of things there that are irreversible and easily misused if there's not some type of regulation. That's not anything that's uncommon. Almost every state has regulations on some medical procedures. In fact, I would be one to say all 50 states do. So it's not crazy that a medical procedure might be regulated. And another thing is this whole argument that, now women in Texas won't be able to get pap smears or breast exams or blah, 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 mammograms. Why not? Planned Parenthood has hundreds of offices and locations. And they say, we only do abortions at a small number of them. Okay, then don't do abortions in your Texas clinics or your other states that don't allow abortion past a certain time. In the ones where they allow it up to 12 weeks, do them up to 12 weeks or whatever. But still provide mammograms, pap smears, health care for women. If you're worried about reproductive rights and reproductive health, you'll still do all those things. And then if a woman comes to you and needs an abortion and your state doesn't offer it, or she's outside the regulation in your state but still within it in another state, well, arrange for them to go to your other clinic. Maybe have a bus that goes back and forth. That's on you guys. Planned Parenthood is not like some little ragtag organization barely keeping the doors open. They have hundreds of offices. They have billions of dollars in assets. They brought in $1.5 billion last year alone. And they pay a lot of people a lot of money. Like their highest paid executive makes like 7 figures. So it's not some little ragtag organization. This whole other argument of, now women won't be able to get affordable pap smears or mammograms or anything else because Planned Parenthood will pull out of the state. Well, you have to ask yourself, why are they pulling out of the state if the only thing they can't do now is an abortion? And they claim they made no money off abortions, which isn't true. They do sell fetal tissue to agencies to do research, which I'm pro. If a person is going to have an abortion, I at least want to have the fetal tissue go to research to where we can cure Parkinson's disease, spinal injuries, etc. If it's going to happen, might as well, make lemonade out of lemons there. If someone throws aborted fetal tissue at you, you turn it into a lemonade. You know what I'm trying to say here. But like I said, this whole argument that guns have more rights than vaginas or women or, women's reproductive systems, it's garbage. And not only is it garbage, it really damages your argument. It really not only makes you look illogical, it stops a lot of people on the other side that might support you at least to a degree from even listening to you because of the ridiculous things you say when you say things like guns have more rights than vaginas. All right, everybody, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I really do appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I just want to remind everyone out there to always carry your gun and your vagina if you have one. I think you have every right to take that vagina wherever you want. And screw anyone that says otherwise. Well, don't screw them. That would be a good reason why you couldn't take your vagina everywhere if you screwed everybody that said that. So let's rephrase here, regroup. Always carry and stay safe until I see you again.